Greetings and welcome. Today we are recapping from 1 Timothy, and like many other letters from Paul, it begins with identifying who the author is, who he wrote to, and what the letter was about. So in this letter, it is Paul who identifies himself as an apostle of Christ. The recipient of the letter is Timothy, one who says is like a son to him, probably because he discipled him. And then he goes on to address the matters. So Timothy was in Ephesus. He had been asked or assigned to stay in Ephesus so that he can support the church there. And in this letter, Paul talks about two key things. One is doctrine, the other one is conduct for Christian living. For doctrine, Paul urges Timothy to command those who are teaching false doctrine to stop. And these included myths and genealogies and forbidding marriage and not eating certain foods. And all these doctrines promoted controversies, meaningless arguments, and speculations rather than advancing God's work. Paul himself recounts or remembers a time when he was a blasphemer, a violent man who persecuted God's people. But he says that he acted out of ignorance and unbelief, yet God showed him mercy. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners. And he goes on to say that there is one God and one mediator between God and man, and that is Jesus Christ, who gave himself as a ransom for all people. In the letter, Paul goes on to address godly living and conduct. And in summary, these include believers who ought to pray for one another, and especially for those who are in authority. He addressed modest and decent dressing for women. He talked about overseers or elders and deacons who are to be faithful, to teach, to be respectable, to be hospitable, and generally approachable. This is a key lesson for us, even as we seek to nominate elders in our assemblies. Leaders of the church oversee God's people and are also models of faith in the household of God. Let me conclude by stating the memory verse for the week, which is from 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. But you flee from all these and pursue righteousness. God bless you.